right. So we are about an hour out from seeing Shelby Oaks, Chris Stuckman's directorial theatrical debut. Um, I have a vested interest in this film for many reasons, but I also happen to be a Kickstarter backer for it, and my name's on that poster, which is probably one of the coolest things that has happened to me. I'm going to see the film with Logan. Logan's been on this channel before, and we are Single Reels Productions. We are making our own short films and always trying to hash out ideas. And what makes this so unique for me and for Logan is because this is just a prime example of what hard work and dedication, not to sound really corny, but I mean essentially that's what this is. This is what it's culminating to is Chris Stuckman. He built his audience on YouTube and continuously created content, not only reviews, but whenever he would do his short films, obviously from the time that he was a child, which we didn't know about till way later, but also for like his Halloween specials, where he would do short films, little shorts sporadically throughout the reviews. So, and also backing the film. I mean, multiple people backed the film, but the fact that the film got picked up by Neon and it's being produced by Mike Flanagan, and it went from a Kickstarter crowdfunding uh, program. I don't really know what you would call that. That I just decided to donate to back in 2023 to now I'm about to be able to see it in a theater is pretty crazy. So, me and Logan are going to be at the theater. I don't know how to turn this off. You recording? Yes. Okay, here. What are you expecting?
I have no idea. I've done no research on this
Have you?
at all.
I actually really haven't even seen a trailer myself. I just know roughly what it's supposed to be about.
Like you showed me the poster and then not even I'm still stuffy by the way. Uh you showed me the poster and then next thing you know it was like you were like you want to go see it?
Yeah. And it's sick, inspiring, you know. Got the independent filmmaker,
Yeah,
distributed by
it's really
Neon,
cool that Neon picked it up.
produced by Mike Flanagan. So, what I'm hoping for at the very least is a good mystery.
Yeah.
Because I think the basis is all about disappearances in Shelby Oaks.
What is do you know anything about like protagonist or like setting or anything like that?
I know Keith David's in it.
Well, that's a start.
Okay,
Guess we'll catch you after. Welcome back.
well, we have just exited Shelby Oaks. And I will say, I did like it. I was very, very curious as to what you had thought, but I was just hoping for a good mystery, and I felt like it definitely achieved that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, going in, it was very like, okay, I'm expecting a horror kind of thriller, and it took on a lot of superstitious aspects a lot of the time. And I will say, this has like been ringing in my head. So there's a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
So one, this man must have watched the first season of True Detective and just straight up was like, you know what? That's actually good material for a part of it.
Well, I felt that especially like the first like 10, 15 minutes when it was like basing it kind of on like a found footage, almost like
Mm-hmm.
documentary kind of style. I don't think you've watched it, but it's an Australian horror film that came out in like 2008 called Lake Mungo, and it felt very, very similar to that. Like there were moments in Lake Mungo where there would be footage and then it would be rewound and you would see like a figure or like a premonition in the background, which it's like cool because you can see he wore his like influences on his sleeve, but he did it in his own way.
Yeah, he did it in kind of like a classy homage almost.
Mm,
See, there was it also kind of gave me like light Twin Peaks vibes just if it was darker.
I was thinking that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was really wondering if you were picking up on that cuz
Well, just like especially like with like Laura Palmer
well
in
that
Vampire.
and then the name and cuz it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of homely, it's in the middle of like a hometown
Yeah.
kind of area in a, you know, reasonable state. Um,
Well, I was gonna say just he's from Ohio, and
that's what
Ohio
I
is
thought.
like a state away from us in West Virginia, so it felt very like
It did.
right at home.
There
It
was
was
a.
cool.
I think the visually it was stunning. I mean, it was very, especially with the eyes. I love that he really played with that as much as he could. And I will say, at first, you know, I was willing to be okay
Should
with
we
it.
say spoiler warnings?
Yeah, spoilers.
Okay.
Um, so I mean, you know, I kind of like you were saying, which I need to watch that, but I was hoping it wasn't going to turn into like Protocol 9. And, you know, if you like Protocol 9, it's fine. I was hoping it wasn't going to go that route for the whole time, and I wasn't disappointed. But I will say, whenever he started really getting to show the monster, like, you know, you don't, you know, it's just like a magic trick almost. Like, once you kind of get that reveal out, uh, it's like post nut syndrome or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like you can't kind of come back from like showing it like in Alien, you know, once you kind of see it, it's like okay, now you just got to hide it in plain sight in certain
Mm-hmm.
ways and work with it from there. And I think he did a great job of that, plus breaking it up into sort of occultist lore aspect. I think he had a lot of ideas and it was executed really well. It's just there was some moments that were just kind of like I don't know, they were like just kind of a little strange, like choppy maybe a little. Not like it was bringing it down or bad. It was just like an interesting storytelling perspective. Plus, I think the pacing to me it was just a little bit.
Okay. I was gonna get to that, but first let me kind of talk about like the positives, kind of like what you were saying initially. I do think based off of like his like religious background, like kind of lended him a hand in like the sort of like occultist like really oppressing kind of like religious ideology
I
that
could
goes
see
around
that.
in it. And I do love all of the kind of like supernatural aspects that we get that is in kind of like a folklore kind of aspect. Like you get the hellhounds, you get basically that personification of like a demon, and then just kind of like the sacrifices that were kind of happening towards the end and just the overall kind of like the spooky vibes to it. I do think that like that was very well executed, and I was surprised as to how well it was executed because I really didn't know if the majority of it was going to be in a found footage aspect or if it was going to be like kind of in a like a standard kind of just film format.
Yeah, from the cover or from the poster, it seemed like it was going to be something to do with found footage or like. And
Mm-hmm.
there was times where it was like, this feels like AGI or no, AGR.
ADR.
No,
Oh
uh,
yeah, like yeah. I know what you're
horror.
like an alternate. What is that called? ARG.
ARG.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I got
It,
that vibe for
um,
sure. Like or like a horror like series you would see on like YouTube or something.
I kept forgetting that it was pagan. Also,
Yeah,
the symbol is what really gave me the Twin Peaks stuff. Is
true.
because it looked like how they were doing whenever they found the symbol and then they
Mm-hmm.
flipped it. And then in the, not to spoil anything, but in the return, they do more of that.
I bet.
But
Still haven't seen The Return. I suck. But, dude, like I was just kind of like pretty surprised because I figured you were kind of like whoa too because it felt really like jarring but kind of in a good way. Like I was surprised. In the first like 20 minutes, you get three kind of different forms of like filmmaking. You
Yeah.
got the found footage, you got a mockumentary style, and then you got like a standard, kind of just filmmaking.
And broken found footage, by the way. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
whenever that comes out, if you're able to freeze the frames, like really kind of stop it at the right moment, if you can click that fast, you could see what all it is. And sometimes your brain, at least my brain, could kind of figure out what some of the images were if they were like slow enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like that demon character.
Yeah.
Um,
But you were kind of touching on the pacing. I mean, that was probably my biggest critique is the pacing just kind of, it felt, I don't know, like it kind of started throwing all of its flurries kind of towards like the mid and end point, which is like what you would want to go for, but it just kind of seemed like it happened out of nowhere. Like she was visiting the penitentiary and then she was visiting the amusement park and then she wound up at the lady's house and then she found Riley. There was like no point to breathe, which I mean could be a good thing, but it also kind of just seemed like they just fucking threw in all their chips and cashed in at the end.
you know,
Which I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just kind of it felt like there was no rest point.
yeah. Well, one thing that bothered me in the very beginning is whenever the guy shows up at the door and we get the sequence that we see, she keeps she doesn't wash her face
I
for
was
like a
thinking that,
whole like 3 scenes.
dude. It was like in the middle of the night, and she still
Yeah,
had blood on her
yeah,
face.
and during that scene was during the day. It was like
I
midday.
know,
And
yeah.
I was like, "What? How could you go?" And then she's looking around and being all like suspicious and shit. And I'm like, "Is she about to creep into the bathroom
Like,
or
just a dude wipe.
yeah, or
Just
something? Just a little baby wipe, just or makeup or something." Like
a
you thought that she might go shower after that and just kind of
no,
like
no.
think in the shower and just be like, "What did I just witness?"
The way I could maybe, I mean, like it's a funny nitpick, but the only way I could like maybe rationalize it because I felt like that's kind of what she was going for whenever she was sitting there, like kind of getting interrogated about what happened, but like questioned, not interrogated, but she was so focused on finding out what was in that tape that she had like a one-track mind. She couldn't think of anything else.
You know, I uh I've definitely told you this story before, but funny enough, it has a very similar parallel in the opening about seeing a person in the window and all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
to an experience I had whenever I was younger, with a like a ghostly demonic kind of figure. And this was my own personal experience that I had whenever I was very young. But it was just kind of interesting that it was it was like kind of realized, even though it wasn't the exact same at all, you know.
It felt familiar. It really did feel like something that you would experience kind of in your childhood, like a kind of traumatic experience. And, whether it's not exact or not, it's kind of twisted a little bit to where it feels like kind of like a repressed memory, but also just maybe like a dream.
You know, it's one thing I wonder is was she under that spell or was she just kind of like there? Was she like the parasite? Or no, not the parasite, but like I was trying to make comparisons to that to see who is who, but at the same time, whenever she started to kill the baby, she never really had a moment where she had like the red eyes or anything.
Yeah,
And so I don't know if she was ever like possessed truly.
I don't think so. I think she was just purely a victim kind of
Yeah,
throughout.
it needed like something to hold on to, which was it was very what interested me the most about it though is I kept having to be like, oh yeah, this is pagan stuff. So it's like a mix between Christianity and paganism. And for anybody that doesn't know, whenever Christianity started to take hold, in the ye olden days, a long time ago, in Europe, it was a big deal to switch and to convert a lot of those stories from the Bible and into translate them in a way that is reasonable to people of like Nordic cultures and things like that, or like the Romans, whenever they were pagans. It was very integral to uh, under help them to understand some things. And I think what was interesting to me through that, or thinking of that within the movie, was the fact that it played on both sides really well. Like it
Hmm.
played into like some satanic demonology, Christian sort of, or like Catholic sort of sides of things,
Hmm.
and then with the symbols and sort of the cult almost, it's very in the ritual. It leans heavier into that pagan sort of ideal where it's very chaotic and archaic. And I think for the most part, like what the movie is trying to get across, uh, overall, and all of its themes, it just drives everything home really really well.
That probably was my favorite bit after she had watched the tape, and then you looked over, you saw the glass kind of spider webbing, and then you see the condensation start to dissipate. I thought that was
that
super well done.
that
That gave
was
me chills.
amazing.
That gave me chills.
That and that was almost like a great way to play it up as like a sign, as like he's there. Plus, I don't know if you caught, there's a scene where everything's very silhouetted in the woods and she's like looking over.
When she's at the amusement park, because I heard you say
Yeah.
something, but I didn't
Well, I
see it.
pointed and I didn't know if you saw,
I didn't
but
see it.
they're over in the corner near the left side of the screen. If you look towards the bottom, near where the tree is, there's an arm sticking out, and it's like this, and it's
Nice.
out from the tree. And
Probably the demon.
yeah, I was about to say it seemed very much like him.
Nice.
I think with her, the depth of her feeling like she's not going to get her sister back. Like I think I don't know how else to put it other than if you have watched Prisoners, uh, dear God, you understand the level of how much a missing loved one could mean to somebody, i.e., Hugh Jackman's incredible fucking performance. I mean, everybody's performance in that, but Jesus.
Honestly, I thought the main woman that played Mia, I thought she done really well.
I thought, no, I think she done great. I'm not saying she didn't. It's
Hmm.
just like, I think she did a great performance, but the problem was the pacing made the performance seem underwhelmed.
I
Like
agree.
it was like, oh man, like I understand. Like she's bringing perfect emotion to the scene, and she's doing well with developing her character, especially going through the traumatizing event.
She didn't really have a whole lot of people to bounce off of, though. She had her husband, which he just didn't give a fuck. And then she had the people that she was kind of like trying to investigate with. And then that was it.
Well, and see, well, that's what I was getting at though, is the she only had very limited options as it was, so she already feels very alone, which it makes sense for her to kind of bolster through and try. She immediately is like, no, something's up. Like I know my sister, and that's great because, like I said, she just keeps developing character throughout, and she's just it's like in a good investigation, it's just it keeps unraveling. But I think for the most part, if it was like 2 hours, like it would be amazing. Uh,
I am curious as to how much they left on the cutting room floor.
yeah, that or what else they had gotten. Plus, I think I want to know what was CGI, what was practical, because I think there was a few things that I caught that I was like, that looks like CGI, like him pouring the like Keith David's character pouring the whiskey into his coffee.
Really?
I swear the liquid looked like it was CGI. I don't know why.
But there were definitely bits that looked practical, like on that found footage bit where that guy, it looked like he got his head ripped off.
Yeah.
That looked really good.
Well, I think the best thing, I don't know if you saw it or maybe I could be wrong, but the demon itself looked practical, at least in a few different shots. Also, the amount of silhouette shots in this are to die for. They're solid. I love them. And not only that, they get that good kind of stark black in a
Mm.
room where it's like almost kind of dreamy like, or it's just it's how your eye kind of sees it. It's
It is
just,
gorgeously shot.
it really is, especially when you get to the granny.
I was
She
about to say her house just felt like a dream,
well,
like a nightmare
I
almost.
will say, I think they kept the mold in that scene kept growing and growing. And it's just like every time you would cut away to cut back, it would grow more. And another thing about the pacing, it's not that it cuts a lot. It does well at holding out on stuff.
Hmm.
It's just it seems like the information is just kind of like, oh well, this thing, then this thing, then
Yeah,
this.
it just kind of felt like it was
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
like,
spammed a bit.
yeah. And especially whenever she got to that old lady's house, I was kind of like, how did we get here?
I feel like the most kind of dreading endings that you get, and normally are the best ones that stick with you, is when you're presented with the solution that the protagonist has been looking for throughout the film, but you don't feel that sense of relief. If
Yeah,
anything, you feel more dread, which, I mean, in a lot of like Japanese horror films and or like found footage horror films, I feel like there are a lot of bits where you get that, where, oh, well, she found Riley, but I didn't get the vibe of like, that good heartfelt, like, yeah, we did it.
yeah,
She looked fucked up. The demon was in the background, and it just did not feel like it was going to be a happy ending.
yeah. No, it didn't pull any punches at any moment either. It was rated that, like, it really did the wholesale, give you pretty much everything raw.
Yeah.
And whenever she came up, she was so disheveled.
Yeah.
Oh God,
That was
like
fucked,
that
dude.
was, yeah, that was some
She
really good makeup.
Yeah, she looked like she had been in captivity for 12 years. I mean, it was insane. I mean, just shout out to everybody on like the crew, cast. I mean, it looked really, really, really good.
Yes, it absolutely did. And I, you know, this will definitely have to be a rewatch to see if I missed anything, because it
For
just
sure.
seems like there is so much in there to really look at and kind of gauge and see, what all you might have missed, just kind of going by. But overall, a very, very interesting time. Especially going in blind.
Bro, essential. I mean, if anybody's watching this, they've already seen the film, but like, holy fuck, that was like the peak way to go in.
It
If you're
was it
if
was
you're
solid.
showing it to someone, don't tell them anything.
Yeah, don't give them any, especially, yeah, just don't give them any information. Just kind of give them like a baseline, like, well, it's kind of like a thriller horror.
Because I genuinely had no idea what was happening aside from this girl being missing.
Yeah, I mean, I had zero idea. I had nothing. I looked up nothing. Didn't watch a trailer. None.
And we got to see a fucking original film. So the next question I'm gonna ask you on Letterbox, what are you gonna rate it out of 5 stars?
Mm, see, I haven't done it yet. I usually have time to think. I I would rate this 3.5, if not 4, but I think 3.5.
I figured you were gonna do 3.5. I was leaning 3.5 to 4. I think I think I'm gonna give it a 4.
I mean, it's solid. It is solid.
You heard it here. It's solid. It is very good. Definitely check it out. Any other closing thoughts?
Uh, if your theater is dirty, the movie can always be a good movie, regardless of your surroundings. Um, and also with that, go to the theater more, enjoy it, go with a buddy, have a good time,
Discuss it,
talk about it after.
ingest it.
Whether it was good or bad, it's worth watching.
If you liked Shelby Oaks, then you probably like independent films, which is what we do as Single Reels Productions. So check out that channel, watch some of our short films, and thanks for listening to us yap.
Have a good one.